Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for listening to Vox&Hops Episode 2. Today I'm with my bandmate, Christian Donaldson, the prolific guitar player and one of the best producers from here in Montreal out of his studio called The Grid. Today on Vox&Hops we talk about his early concert experiences waiting to see Pantera in the middle of the winter and standing outside for 12 hours with his mother and his best friend. His eternal search for the perfect guitar tone back in the day when there was no internet and no way to tell you and profile amps. The challenges of producing and mixing albums in a modern era. And his thoughts and opinions about the new Cryptopsy release, The Book of Suffering, Tome II. Stay tuned, check it out. Here it is, Vox&Hops, Episode 2.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, how's it going? Here we go on Vox&Hops podcast. Today, my guest is Christian Donaldson, my fellow bandmate from Cryptopsy, and the owner, master producer, mixer supreme from The Grid Studios.
Wow.
So how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
What's been going on? We had a good time at Heavy MTL today, day 2.
We had a good time, yes. If I could remember the end of it, yeah.
We found where the good beer was.
Yeah, exactly.
And we seldom ventured much farther away from it than that.
Yeah, dude, that was better. The better beer was cheaper than the shitty one, so...
That's true. What were some of the best sets that you got to see?
What I got to see... Well, I'm going to go with the Agonists because, first of all, they're friends, and second, I thought their set was really good. And I got to see Get the Shot, that was good. My buddies from Blind Witness, I liked it too. And from what I can remember, I liked Gojira. And I wish I could have seen Limp Bizkit, but, it was too late.
They put on a show.
Was that okay?
In the first 20 minutes, they played 2 songs.
Not bad.
They drag stuff out. For everyone that doesn't know, they were there to replace Avenged Sevenfold, and they got called in a few days before. So props to them that they showed up with the whole production. But out of the 15-song set, they played like 5 covers. So I can't quite back that. I don't really respect that as a headliner, but show-wise, it was entertaining, and they got people into it.
Did they got nice stage props or something?
No, they didn't. They had just a big banner with a weird car on it.
Oh, okay. Well,
but Wes Borland crawled down into the crowd and played the Bridge of Break stuff.
He was probably dressed up as a weirdo.
Yeah, it was chill. It was chill.
I kind of missed the old alien days. The
no, he was still painted and. Half his face was black, and
when Family Values, when they used to have this massive spaceship, that's cool.
True. And back in the day at Ozfest, I think they used to just have a big fucking toilet on stage.
Oh yeah, well, and now they do have a big fucking toilet, but he sings now.
No, he was good.
Oh yeah,
he really was good. He was definitely better than Manson.
Oh, okay,
I'll give him that. So Vox&Hops is always based around beer, and you and I have, I believe, we've grown together.
That could be a correct way to say it.
Craft beer enthusiasts.
Yeah.
So today I've brought a beer that when I pulled it out, you were like, oh, that's one of my classic go-to favorites. Mm-hmm. So with me today, I brought the Les Trois Mousquetaires Signature Series IPA. So over the years, I sort of feel like the palate of this has changed, and it's grown into something that I developed. I appreciate more now than I did before. So I revisited it recently, and I was impressed because there are so many amazing IPAs that come out on the market, and I feel like it's hard to go back to the ones that you did appreciate, or you might have missed one. So now I've tried to revisit some old classic favorites, which is from 2 years ago, but with the beer market in Quebec being so
yeah, it is a good one. Honestly, it's the one that I can find at majority of grocery stores, and still it kicks ass. For having it at Metro, it's always my go-to. Because the rest is all less good. Let's say it's in a bottle. You see, what I like about this is it's not very see-through. I like the color. I like the color. I really like those beers where, they look like orange juice.
Yeah, so the opaque, hazy style beers, which are coming out of most of the northeastern United States, and now Montreal heavily is very, very inspired by this New England IPA. So I feel like this one has changed the recipe a little bit to adapt to that flavor, using maybe different hops to give it that. So cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thanks for being on the podcast. It's good. It's fruity.
Little foamy,
Yeah, yeah.
It'll get there.
In my defense, Chris has these very tiny glasses that I'm working with here.
Yeah, it's true. But normally these are from the Mondial,
Yes, the beer fest up here in Montreal, and they seem to manage, but apparently I can't to pour a solid beer. So the beer in general, if you had to describe this, would be, for me, it's like fruity, tropical. The hazy color, it's not malty whatsoever. Extremely refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to describe this beer, this is a game that I play with my wife, and I brought it onto the podcast now, is if you had to describe this beer as a person in the world, male, female, young, old, any walk of life, who would this beer be?
Interesting. Okay, so let's just, to make a good comparison, let's just say that Coors Light would be Hitler. Okay. Let's just to start that way, okay? And we can say that maybe what would be Jesus Christ, some kind of great,
some Three Floyds, something.
Yeah, exactly. Three Floyds would be good.
The Dark Lord.
Dark Lord would probably be Jesus Christ, something like that.
So where does this fall in between Hitler and Jesus Christ?
Well,
Coors Light
there's a kind
and
of
Dark
huge
Lord.
palette to go from Hitler to Jesus, right? Well, it would definitely be a female, that's for sure. It tastes like a female.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. She would need to like fruit, so maybe no. I was about to say Barbie, but Barbie's too superficial, so it still would be like Budweiser or something like that.
Okay.
So no, what's her name? Frisinette?
Frisinette, that's a strawberry shortcake?
Exactly. Probably this is strawberry shortcake.
So this is Christian Donaldson's strawberry shortcake IPA from Les Trois Mousquetaires.
Yeah.
A little about Les Trois Mousquetaires. They started back in 2004 in Saint-Eustache, which is a city away from where I grew up. And, I wasn't into craft beer back in the day, but had I known, I would have definitely enjoyed to go there back in the day. But now they moved to Brassard, and they've expanded their beer series. This is one of my favorites, and I will definitely keep exploring more of Les Trois Mousquetaires.
They do have good stuff. I think their Baltic Porter is excellent.
Yes, I have one aging at my house right now. I'm going to pull that out in a few years and see where it went. What was your very first experience with beer like? With beer? Like my first time? If you can remember. Yeah.
I can remember like really easily. It was with my first gig ever. It was my first real gig ever where it was a mic drum, not just playing in someone's basement. And after that, we had a little party at my drummer's place, and they bought beer. O'Keefe, I remember. O'Keefe. And I had 3 of those, and I got sick, dude. You have no idea how sick I was. They wanted to date. They were about to show me that girl. We were on some kind of a blind date that day, and we both got sick. Sadly, I never got to talk to her again. But maybe things would have been totally different if both of us didn't have drank like those 3 O'Keefe.
Your whole life, you would be an accountant.
Exactly. Stop music, but
living in a high rise in downtown Montreal.
So this is what happened. So O'Keefe, 17-year-old or 16-year-old and O'Keefe doesn't go well together.
Okay. Which beer would be, or brewery, was the one that really opened your mind to craft beer?
Oh, that's a good question. I was about to say the Castor, but I think I'm wrong, because I remember I used to go to, honestly, Wormy from Cryptopsy. He was a big beer fan, and he just taught me a lot of stuff. While we were in Europe touring, he taught me the Budweiser, the Budvar. That was cool. I had the black one, and it was really impressive. And I remember I was hanging all the time at Saint Elizabeth, and I was just trying to get like those good beers, that they had. But I think I do think that the Castor would probably be the first one. The
first brewery. Which one from the Castor?
Like the Yakima.
The Yakima IPA is the one that really...
I was like, this is a really good beer. But, I had a whole bunch before, but this one is the first one that I wanted to buy,
And you can go grab just at the store, let's say.
Yeah, it was not easy to find back then, but...
Okay, it's sweet. I have to agree that the Yakima IPA is from Le Castor, which is a brewery up here in Quebec. Really opened my eyes too. It was a game changer, and I couldn't go back to just drinking.
I just remember back
regular
in the day,
beer.
I used to try to impress women, by teaching, telling them about, a beer should have 4 ingredients, water, hops, and all those other shitty beers like Budweiser, they have 52 ingredients, including peroxide, So that was my selling pitch, and I just knew that. And
but you were lucky you had early in your life you had the experience of going and touring Europe and getting exposed to all these different types of beer that don't really, the palates, when you go through Belgium.
In Belgium, they're phenomenal for that. But, if you go to Germany, they're still very good, but a bit boring in my opinion.
Yeah, but back then it was it's a different quality of beer.
Oh, it's perfect.
Compared to your O'Keeffe.
Exactly.
It's like a night and day experience.
I'll be very honest with you. I'm a big drinker, and I don't know when to stop when I'm starting. And the biggest difference I see with those beers was the hangover. That was good. You just drink a shit ton of German beers, and you just wake up the next day, you're like, I'm a bit thirsty. Drink a glass of water, you're done. Yeah, compared to those hangovers I had here with shitty beers.
The shitty beers that are full of preservatives.
Yeah,
mostly.
You ended up having a peroxide shooter in the end. It's not the greatest thing.
Tell me about your early life. Do you Chris growing up? What kind of a kid were you in school?
It's funny because I used to be a nerd, obviously. Grade A student, just know it all, just whatever, want to impress everyone. And at some point, I just got fed up. I just started playing guitar, and even in high school, at the last year of high school, I just decided to stop being into this fancy grade A class that I was all the time. Always the first. There's all those special classes.
So you were in an advanced,
exactly,
grade 8 high school, and for all the math classes,
everything. And I was just fed up, so I just went to normal school and decided to play guitar and drink beers. That was it.
What inspired you to pick up the guitar?
It's I don't know. Good question. Well, honestly, the Black Album. And when I was 12 back then, when I just heard that, and I was like, this is fantastic. And I just saw a couple of live shows, and I was like, this is ridiculous, phenomenal. It has to happen. And I was looking for that tone, that guitar tone. This is what I was looking for. Even back then, I was looking for that guitar tone, that I called it the tone. It was just distortion back then. I didn't know what it was, but I was looking for it. So I just bought a whole bunch of pedals and was looking for that tone. And then when I got it, I started playing for real because it was so fun.
Did you go into music stores and explain this to people, or were you just sheepish and just doing it on your own? Oh yeah, going to a music store and trying everything. I was just trying everything that was available in front of me. During my how do you call it? Lunch break. Yeah. There was a music store next to it. A music store, and I was just trying every pedal to make sure this one I need to have, and this one I need to have, and just try to save money to buy that pedal that I tried that day, and it was amazing. It's like me with beer now. But do you remember what pedal was the one that finally you got satisfied with the sound? I never was satisfied with the sound, honestly. I remember my first pedal ever was the heavy metal HS2, I think. I forgot the actual number, but the heavy metal from Bus, and that was great because I think still to this day that's the pedal that all the Swedish guy used from In Flames to early In Flames and At the Gates and all that stuff. So it's still a very good pedal. I should not have sold it. No, you should have kept it to at least profile it. And then I'm sure it's easy to find. And then the Metal Zone, obviously, but like everyone else, I didn't know that the Metal Zone had a parametric EQ. You just thought it was 2 mids and you just didn't know what to do with it. But if you're smart, and I didn't know that the Metal Zone was actually not a distortion pedal, it was a preamp. So that's the main reason why it sounds like shit, because people use it as a distortion pedal. But anyways, that's another story. Okay, no, I see that I'm way over my head. I didn't know. I don't know the parametric EQ.
That's something that people didn't know, and it's not a pedal; it's a preamp.
Okay,
so that's two things that makes it.
So you
sound
put that
bad.
before your amp. You're supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. You put it into the return of your amp, and you have a different tone.
Oh yeah. Okay. There you
but
go.
anyways,
that's amazing. What about like early concerts that like really rocked your mind and that changed your life? Like these early concerts.
Easy. The first concert I ever went to, Pantera.
How old were you?
I was 14. Exactly.
There you go. Yeah. And you went with?
I went with Steve.
Okay. For people listening, Steve is one of Chris's oldest friends, good friend of mine. Shout out to Steve Burns, and he played in many bands with Chris throughout the year.
Exactly, and I was there with Steve and with my mother also. She was there. It was funny. I shit you not, we arrived there at 8 a.m.
No way.
It was, I can't remember, I think it was February 4th, something like that. It was freezing. But for us, we thought that was the way to go, man. You have to wait, to have the first,
standing right in the front.
Exactly.
Did you get that spot?
I got that spot.
With your mom?
Not my mom, no.
Okay.
But with Steve and all. And at the end, you just realized that, hey, man, I'm not going to stay here for the whole concert. But, I got to see Peter Steele from Typo Negative that was playing, they were opening, and he was right next to me, at 14 years old. That was good. But just waiting from 8 till like 8 in the morning till 7 p.m. when they open up the doors, I think showed me like how much of a fan I was.
And these concerts, were they things like that you were like aspiring, I would love to be there one day? Or is this just like, I love this lifestyle, I'm going to go to concerts forever?
No, I was always like, I want to be there one day.
Okay.
Had to be there, I had to be him, or I wanted to be Phil and Samuel.
That guy on the stage.
Yeah.
A singer, though.
I wanted to be Phil because he was inspiring me, even though I thought Dimebag was like one of the best guitar player back then. Still to this day, he's just phenomenal. But I don't know. I just, I wanted to be on stage.
That's amazing. Give the listeners a quick little rundown how, I know how this happened, but I find it an interesting story, and I would like to share it with everyone. How did you end up in Cryptopsy?
Oh, not that story again.
I like it, though. I like it. It's an interesting story. It's not like they just called you.
Kids, in my days, this happened. It's easy. Okay, I'll tell that story one more time, and then
I just find it's interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting
story. It's not like you applied to an ad or anything.
No, it did not. No, there was this guitar contest about like playing the guitar and just a guitar contest. And first, I was just like I was making that guitar contest, and it was working by rounds. Just like a hockey kind of thing. That the 4 out of 7. And
you need to win 4 rounds out of 7.
Exactly, and if you win 4 rounds, you just go to the next round and all that stuff. Anyways, and I just won the first 4 very easily, like with for 4 different other players. And every round is a team. It's I'm starting over. Every round is another player, and you just get to
try to one up them.
Exactly.
So it's like a guitar solo, primary
it's
based
a solo competition kind of thing, and so I just like beaten all those guitar player because I was better apparently, and at this one point, if I would have won this next round, I would have need to go to Toronto to go to the next round because I kind of won the
local Montreal
exactly. Shows. So I was there, I was playing my thing, then I thought I did good. I thought I rocked, and it was easy, it was fun, and I just look at the judges, and they just made me lose, and I was like, the fuck.
While you're playing?
While I'm playing, kind of
they
thing.
Psyched you out
because these guys still have the last word, and they just decide no, this time the other guy wins, and the other guy wins, and I was like, what the fuck, I'm gonna try to play better next round just to make sure, and in the end I lose, and I'm super bummed about that, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I thought I was okay, but whatever, and life goes back to normal. I go to my job, which was HMV back then, selling records, and then I receive a phone call at my job from some dude that I'd never spoken in my life. It was Alex Oburn, a guitar player from Cryptopsy, and he told me, hey Chris, I was one of the judges, for your guitar contest, and I would like to know if you would like to play for Cryptopsy right now, because he knew that if I would have, win, I would have gone to Toronto, and they needed me on tour in like 1 week or 2 weeks to be on tour with with Suffocation. So like I was not sure at first, and I just went to talk to the guy, and I said yes. So I had to quit my job and just learn 12 Cryptopsy songs. And
what year was this in?
2004 or 5, something like
crazy. And he called you at your work.
At my work.
This is so old school, before Facebook, before anything.
Yeah.
He tracked you down to your job.
Well, not my normal, I guess, I don't know. He used to work at HMV, so maybe he knew I was working at HMV.
That makes a bit more sense.
That's the only the only sense I can think of.
So you decide to join the band. You go out on that tour.
Yeah.
What are your frame of mind during this? This is your first real tour. You're on tour with, people that you've idolized.
Yeah.
Suffocation.
I was really lonely on that tour, because I didn't know anyone, and I'm a social awkward person. I have hard time to socialize with people, or so I was like really doing my thing, and as anyone else would do, if you don't know, you overpacked, and I had like you just don't know it. I just had so much shit on that tour, man. You have no idea. My pod, because back in the day, we had no phones, so my pod to practice, but no, we were in an RV, so I tried to practice in the back of an RV. It was impossible.
Still learning the songs, because you had a week to learn them.
It was impossible to try to plug the RV somewhere, try to practice on that bed, and so much clothes.
It's funny. It's funny on two levels, because I remember my first tour, which was like a little, week or two run with Kanai with 3 Mile back in the day and Bloodshot Eye, and I was the one I brought so much stuff. I
guess it's like that.
If Mike Marino's listening to this, or Alex Dellis, you guys are gonna chuckle just because they'll remember we didn't have a big enough van because of all the stuff that I brought. And then it's funny on another level, because now Chris, when we tour together, he brings a backpack. That's it for a 3-week tour. He'll have a backpack just about.
I kind of learned, dude.
A pair of pants and 3 shirts, and he's
military
happy.
Way, dude. It's the best way. I've learned it.
So funny.
What else? You don't need nothing else, man. A pick, guitar. That's it.
Okay, tour life. Tell me about if you could pick your own perfect Cryptopsy tour. 3 bands, including Cryptopsy. Who would that be?
Well, I have to admit that the Cannibal run we did was really good, and it's one of my dream tours. So I can say I did it, right? But if I could still pick another tour, I would have say Slayer. I think that could work for Cryptopsy. It's not too soft, it's not too hard, so that could work. And Behemoth would work too. And I think we would have fit perfectly on that bill. Instead of
I absolutely would have loved to have done either of those legs. That would have been an absolute privilege. Behemoth is still a big one on my list.
Oh yeah, me too.
I think that we would fit rather well together.
I have to admit, I'm not crazy about their new single, but still,
it has a riff.
Yeah, it has
that riff. There's like one riff that comes. It's a catchy fucking riff.
True.
And the video is like a Hollywood quality.
Yeah. Well, these guys are
in a different level.
Yeah.
Than our little budget, but very interesting. And what about on a side? That's like a business decision. Do you have a dream tour? A band's past and present. If you could just pick it,
something that I would enjoy.
And being a part of and playing every day.
I don't know.
Someone you get touring with, and they don't have the people that could have died. People.
Well, I mean, obviously, Pantera is high on my list. I used to be a massive fan, and 19-year-old me would say Meshuggah, even though I kind of a bit, it's I don't know. There's so many good bands right now, but I'm just a bit. I don't want to say fed up because it's not true, but I just feel like. Not bored, but I guess somewhere between bored and fed up, but not bored or fed up, if that makes any sense. No, but I mean, Pantera would be cool, but...
I think Pantera, Meshuggah, Cryptopsy would be a great gig.
We'd definitely have no... we would not belong there. This is not our crowd.
We'd have fun, though. Yeah, I'd have fun watching them every night. That's the point of the question, Out of all the gigs we've played, it could be before my time, what is your favorite Cryptopsy gig, if you can, remember just one?
I don't know, man. I mean, those festivals are very fun. Those festivals in Europe.
Yeah, so truly blessed to get through those.
Wacken would have been fantastic if we would have arrived on time. And what else? The first Hellfest was great, where Sarah was there. The first Hellfest was good. Wacken, Brutal Assault the last time was fun. All those festivals are super fun. Not Summer Breeze.
Well, Summer Breeze was fun. I spoke about it last time with Danny too. That we deadlined and there wasn't that many people there, but we played at 3:00 in the morning. But it was still fun.
Yeah,
just a different type of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And the Jaeger machine was empty, so
that was me and Ollie's fault. Which led to a fun gig for me and Ollie, but and Suffocation too were there.
Yeah.
What is your craziest tour story? Positive.
There was that time where we got stuck, me and Ollie, and for some reason the venue was there and it was the only place where we had internet, so we just decided to go check our phones a bit with internet, and the guy someone just locked the doors of the venue, so we were trapped inside, me and Ollie, and our bus call was at 5 a.m, so we're just trapped and with no possibilities of going out, so we didn't know what to do. So in the end, the only thing we could have done was to break the door, so I remember Bill from Decrepit just punching through the door for us to try to escape to that place, and the promoter wanted to sue us because we kind of destroyed the door, but I think Flo wanted to sue them for kidnapping, stuff like that. So in the end, no one got sued, but that was funny.
Yeah, it was in Rostock, Germany. I have a video of all this at home somewhere.
This is Home Buster.
Yeah, and it was Big Bill and Big D.
Big D,
who's now in Scour from Cattle Decay.
That was fun.
Yeah. So, and then your absolute horror story, worst tour experience.
I don't know. I tend to forget these things.
It's probably for the best.
It's probably for the best because you don't want to, you want to still enjoy touring. I remember those trains to Russia that were not so fun, but that's not the worst. Oh, there was. I don't know if you were in the band back then when we had to. Oh, we got stuck in Atlanta. That was shitty. But another thing that was really shitty is yes, we were in Frankfurt, in Germany. We needed to go. To another city. I think we need to go to Norway or something like that. So we had to take a flight. So I can't remember the exact date, but here's the thing. So in the end, we just take a shot. Our show was in Frankfurt. We have to leave right away to go to Cologne, Germany, because our flight is there. And they booked a ticket from Cologne to Norway. And we arrive in Cologne, and apparently we have too much gear because to fly through Europe. And they say the only place that you can fly from is from Frankfurt. So you have to take, I think, a taxi from Cologne to go back to Frankfurt, to take an airplane to go up to Norway. Well, we could have just stayed there and just move there. That was some kind of random stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but you have most of the story right, but I think you forgot. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, I told you it's something like that.
We played in Frankfurt. We were doing a van tour. We jumped into the van right after the gig. We go to Cologne. We get there. We have too much gear. It would have cost 900 euros or something to fly from there. We end up spending the whole day lying on the floor. Yeah. And where we were going to the Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly.
To play the metal festival out there, which is on the beach. And it was supposed to be our day off this day.
True.
And we were supposed to spend the whole day on the beach. It was supposed to be beautiful, amazing. We spent it lying on the floor of an airport to be told that we need to get back into taxis to go back to where we came from another 5 hours. They didn't have enough taxis to carry all of our stuff, so we ended up taking limousines. Taxis.
That was crazy.
We slept the whole way. We get there, we get into the airport, we fly into the Ukraine, and there's a man standing there who looks like a serial killer, holding a little piece of paper that says Cryptopsy. And of course his name is Yuri, and we had a Yuri in the band at the time, so that was funny. We end up getting into this complex in the middle of the night. we go with this man. He can't speak English. He doesn't talk to us the whole drive. And then we get there and we like crawl into this like complex. It's like gated community. And then finally we get to the gig and, you know, we had no beach time, no nothing. It was beautiful where we were supposed to stay. We stayed and spent like 20 minutes there. Played the gig. They lock us in this room. They say, you stay here. Yeah. They lock the door. And then we played the gig.
That was funny. So you see, you have more details than me.
Well, I definitely remember that.
But that was not funny, dude.
No, same show. There was a man with 3 nipples on stage. And there was machine guns on the side saying, you play now.
It's crazy.
And we were not ready, but we played.
You played. It
was a good show, though.
Yeah.
That is up there in my tour horror stories.
Yeah, it was one of them.
But it could have been worse. When did you first start thinking about starting a studio?
I think I started that very early, if not before even joining a band. Really? It's crazy. Because even when I was in college, you know, I studied jazz at school, you know. So during my jazz degree, we had like those studio classes, which was not really advanced because first of all was MIDI, and the second was we were tracking on really old analog gear, really shitty. I'm not talking about tape machine, but something shitty in between tape machines and computers, you know. So not ADAT, but you know, like, well, yeah, some kind of ADAT and some portable all-in-one solution recording devices, you know. And I just spend like all my time there, even like not going to classes, just to just hanging out there, just hang at that studio and just to learn how things work, you know.
So you jumped out of school and you finished school, but you got out of the advanced classes in grade 8, but you still graduated high school and managed to get into university.
No, it was not. University was Cégep in Quebec,
Cégep, which is like college, let's say,
kind of thing. Yeah,
in music though, so exactly. You still had good enough grades even throughout your metal transition.
It was easy, you know.
Your metal evolution.
Exactly. And and I went to jazz because obviously there were no metal, and there was no recording school back then, you know. There was only whatever, we had one class, and like I told you, it was very shitty. I remember the teacher was telling us back in the day, now recording on a computer, this is ridiculous, it will never happen, man, you will need too much of you will need a hard drive that is way too big, and then it's impossible. But you know where we are right now. But yeah, so I'd started recording bands since I am when I was 18, I started recording my first project.
Okay, and that was at the garage?
Not even, but it was at the basement, let's say, before the garage.
Before the garage.
I had stuff like
still in your parents' house.
Yeah. I had a whole bunch of different devices. I remember my first 4-track Fostex.
Okay.
And then my 8-tracks Fostex as well. Then I just decided to get myself my first Pro Tool rig. I think I was Pro Tool 5.1, so that's like back in the days, you know.
Okay. And it wasn't your band that you're recording?
I always did that for my band, first of all, to do like pre-prods before our albums.
Okay. But bands would come to you, or you would encourage bands to come to you?
It just happened naturally, you know. Like my own band, it was obviously I'm going to do it. It was only for pre-prods, but some other bands, it was for other bands. It just, you know, I was jamming in that place, you know. I had a band at some point, and some bands were talking to me like, "Hey, can you record my band?" And I was just doing this. But
okay,
it was like,
you quickly became that guy,
kind of
that knew how to do it.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, obviously I didn't have the resources to do it. No, I only had like a shitty thing and bass, treble. That's it. You know. Mm-hmm. But you know, this is a funny thing when you don't have nothing, and you have to manage to make it sound good anyway. So you just like find the way to make it sound good at the source. Like compared to these days, you just think they got to fix it after. You know, back in the day,
just getting the pure.
I learned that way.
First sound, the quality sound at the beginning, so you don't have to sweep up
it's
so much.
It's a lot of. This is a lost art, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are now just like saying, "Oh, whatever, it's going to shitty, I'll fix it later." No. If you just take decisions right now, you won't have to struggle later.
That's right. Yeah.
But like you said, to come back to your question, I think it was always in me. I wanted to record. You know?
Okay, and. Has there ever been a point where you weren't the engineer on something that you've played on?
Well, the latest Cryptopsy, you know. Well, I was.
Yeah. Well, because on the latest Tome I,
Yeah,
we went to Sukov to mix it.
exactly. That was fun. That was very fun.
And you
But
went down there to be with him to...
I was involved,
Yeah.
But if you talking about like not being involved at all, or
Like just showing up with your guitar and your songs.
it happened. The first Minds album,
Okay.
JF Dajne from Cataclysm recorded it. So I just showed up with my guitars and just whipping everyone, do it better. I was basically a producer kind of thing,
Your bandmates or even JF?
My bandmates and even JF at some point. I was like, no, can I dial that bass tone? It's not like that,
Because that is how I met you. I met you through JF because he was busy and he was doing the 3 Miles first record. And he shipped some editing to you, and that's how I met you.
Exactly. He sent me a few works here and there because I don't know. I guess I was fast and quick at editing, and he really liked the way I worked, so he was just sending me his job to edit. So it was fun, and this is how I met you, because I worked on your album. I edited your stuff that JF was doing. Yeah.
Is that how you got more respected in the field by meeting other bands?
I guess it's always like that for everything in life. If you do your job properly and better than other, you'll get respected no matter what, So if you just whatever you would do, if you're just meticulous and work well, people will respect you, no matter what. But
do you think that that working for him vetted you in the eyes of...
Maybe, yes, and yes, for sure it would help. But I think that joining Cryptopsy was one of the big pierre angulaire, how do you call that? And
stepping stones?
Exactly. That one of the reason why it worked a bit more for me.
And people took you more serious.
So that helped.
Which is funny because it has nothing to do with your recording skills.
No, but it's a bit like that. It's
you have the name now.
Or the name, but they kind of associate you with what you do, and they think okay, so maybe that guy, he's been around and he knows a bit more what's going on than someone else that is just recording. So that is one thing. What else?
Is there?
The fact that the Agonist got signed, so I just did my first album on a label, so that was good. Another thing, that just got me respected, and then from there it just keeps on going on and on.
That's interesting, very interesting. Is there a producer out there that you would feel comfortable just going in with your guitar and the songs and not being involved whatsoever?
Tons, man.
Send me your final mix type of thing. You're not involved with anything. Would you be able to, or are you too much of?
No, I'm control freak because I never get the chance to meet someone that was up to my level of OCD, but there is people out there,
Who would be your top?
But my top, if I just go, if Andy Sneap would just be recording my thing, I'd be like, yeah, dude, man, do your thing. I'm just going to play my guitar and that's it,
Just complete trust.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people like that. Andy Sneap, Cole Richardson, Josh Wilbur, and Mark Lewis would be one of them. Jason Sukoff, my buddy. They will be all these guys, these top guys. I'll be like, yeah, dude, man, whatever, do your thing,
That's amazing. One day I hope you get to do that.
And even close to here, our friends, my friend Yannick, he's super meticulous, man.
Yannick Saint-Amand.
I would totally trust this guy in a blink of an eye,
Shout out to Yannick.
Yeah. Shout out to Yannick. Shout out to Max, Max House of Gain. These guys for our local, and they're doing a phenomenal job, But obviously because they're local, and I would probably do it myself. But still, I think these guys are working their ass off, and they're great. Yeah.
Which record would you say you are most proud of being a part of?
That I mixed or mastered, or
in general, just working on in general.
Well, there's a whole bunch of albums coming this year that I'm very, very proud of. The Beyond Creation, I'm very happy about that. That was a fun album. Lots of good, interesting textures. The guys are phenomenal musicians, great ideas. It was fun. That I'm very proud. The new Agonist I'm very happy about. It sounds super good. There will be a Beneath the Massacre later this year. I'm looking forward for that. There's a whole bunch of albums that I did that I'm very happy. But, happy. I'm proud I've been there, but listening to them back, I'm always like, fuck, I wish I'd changed that. I'm really happy about the latest Ingested, too. It's a great album. But it's always like that,
Yeah, that leads me to my next question. Are you capable of going back and listening to albums which you have worked on in the past and listening to them, like, objectively, or are you just constantly worried that or like criticizing yourself that you didn't have either your techniques now or the gear you have now?
Well, it's it's funny because I find like everything I do goes into 3 phases kind of thing. Like the new phases when it's like I just finished a mix and it's out and I send it to the label and I'm very happy and I'm like, yes, this is killer, it's killer. And then there's the second phase, couple of months after, I feel like, dude, this is shitty, I should have done that, man, and then I don't like it anymore. It's garbage. And then there's phase 3 when you forget about it, but sometimes you just listen to it back and you're like, man, that was cool. That was cool.
You go through this every time with every album that you're working on?
Almost.
Wow.
I find it's funny. Sometimes you just listen to it back and like this one I haven't heard in forever, Unbreakable Hatred.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if I would listen to it again, there's probably tons of stuff that I know that I would have done differently, but I will just probably think and spot what was cool, Oh yeah, that guitar tone was cool and I did that. That's cool, and just try to forget about what was not cool.
It's a much more positive approach.
Kinda, and try to remember that. And sometimes I even go look into my old folder and save it as template or preset so I can just go back to what I did before and just try to, from the next one, take what was cool for that.
Moving on to our next beer. This is the 48th Parallel. It's a collaboration from Harricana, which is absolutely one of my favorite breweries from Montreal. Harricana and Riverbend collaboration beer, because they are both based out of the city of Alma, Quebec. Harricana is in Montreal now, but the brewer, the owner of the Barsserie, was born in Alma, and her parent had a restaurant out there, and now they have a... Hold on, I'll start that again. Okay, we're back. And we're moving on to our second beer. This is the 48th Parallel, our second beer of the day. It's a rustic raspberry beer. It is a collaboration beer between Riverbend and Harricana. And personally, Harricana is one of my favorite breweries out of Montreal. They have a great little brew pub. I go there all the time to eat some brunch with my wife and my kids, and it's quiet. They have amazing beer, and all of their beers really are not normal. Like, they don't fall into the hype of the hops. There are no hoppy beers at Harricana. It is all strange, barrel-aged, interesting, like no oats. They'll use like barley and strange rice. They've used sake casks or sake yeast. Always thinking outside of the box. So let's try this one. See what you think about this.
It seems interesting. Yes.
You can smell the raspberries right away.
That is strange, but
that's really good. That's really good. It's a little sour.
Mm-hmm.
The color is very dark.
You really would not expect that.
No,
just looking at the beer.
You would think that it's like a heavy stout, but it's really just...
It's not really thick for a stout, though.
No.
It looks like it.
And it's raspberry goodness.
There's a raspberry, but there's this extra, I don't know what is it?
It's like I guess the malt that they use, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's very malty and very raspberry. So
it's like a stout, sort of heavy, but super fruity and sour at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. They've been doing this whole series with, I think it's all been with Riverbend, 48th Parallel. I have a feeling that the 48th Parallel is probably where Alma falls on the map, because they're both out of there. The parents of the owner of Harricana had a restaurant out there, and all of the stuff in the Harricana brewery, all the tables, the chairs, the decoration, is all from her parents' restaurant, or their parents' restaurant. And they brought it all into Montreal, and it's like very kitsch decoration. And Riverbend is based out of Alma, so I assume that it's from that. And they have a whole bunch of them. This is the third installation of the 48th Parallel, and I think this one's my favorite. So we'll go back to our questions about the studio work.
Should I
describe it as a person?
Do you think so?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
It's interesting because, because it's a black, it's a dark beer with the raspberry thing, for sure has to be a transgender, That's for sure. It's a bit fucked up, so maybe the male version of Vandal Vixen.
That's a porn I don't want to watch.
Oh, yeah, but it's not. Yeah, that's not a porn. So if the male version of Vandal Vixen was, a lawyer, that would be that beer.
Okay, I don't know if I'll drink this beer the same anymore. But so you're mostly mixing bands now.
I'm doing both, obviously, but it takes more time to produce an album than to mix one, obviously.
How do you feel? Like, are you more closely attached to the ones that you've produced in entirety, or mostly, is it like the same?
No, it's always the same attachment, if I can say so. The only thing is I can have the quality is just like all the same from beginning to the end when I'm recording it, because I know exactly what's going to happen in the end, and I know I'll have to deal with every wrong decisions that I make, so I try to not make any. And sometimes when I receive files from other people, some of them are great, some of them are less great, and you just have to manage. That's the thing, you have to manage. And sometimes, like, as much as I would like the band to sound great, if the recording is not the greatest, there's a certain thing you can do. You can only bring it to a certain level, but you just cannot go further because the recording was not there. So I'm always trying to do my best, but sadly, if it's not like the way I like it, or if it's not like perfectly done, or it might be less good. So
is that something that you've had to learn to handle? Because you're such perfectionist.
I've dealt with a lot of stuff, and sometimes, there's some bands that are asking me questions. I even have like a document that I send to bands before they're recording, just like, this is how I like things. Just please do it that way. Normally they never read it and just give me like garbage things anyway, but at least I just send them to them, so at least it's not my fault, and just for example, like one of the trickiest thing to mix when you're mixing is cymbals. It's one of the trickiest things because there's so many overtones and so many like harsh sound, and the room is so important to get the right cymbal sound. The room is extremely important, and also what else? The cymbal choices are super important. So if you have some bands that have some shitty cymbals in a super small place, I can do my best, but it's never going to sound as good as anything else. And also there's these new wave of bands that are sending you MIDI tracks and just like, go ahead, do your drum sound. That I personally don't like it. I'm doing it because I have to, but I find it so unpersonal, personally, and I think it's a waste of an art. I think it's a lost art meant to record drums, and people should just learn to do it again
with natural sounds,
with natural real drums. It's important. You have more of a character. You have more of it's more personalized.
Yeah.
And this is what I really like. It's important to not to fall into the trap of, okay, we all going to sound the same with the same cymbal sounds, and everybody's using these samples or whatever. To have your own snare sound that you crafted yourself, it's first of all way more
gratifying. Yeah,
it's way more gratifying, and in the end, your record will go through age way easier.
Yeah, because it won't be dated to that sample, because there's always new samples coming out.
Exactly.
The new bundles come out, and
so this is some kind of. But if I'm more attached to something that I do or not really, for example, Ingested, I did not recorded anything, and I'm still very attached to this band because I think they're a great band anyway. And
is there a project that you have mixed that you just would have loved to have taken it from A to B because you feel like there's stuff missing? Because you do add some like producing to stuff.
Yeah, but some guys have great ideas. But ingested, I would have probably loved to record the drums.
Just take it from A to Z.
Yeah, I would have at least the drums. The rest was spot on.
Are there any famous old school metal records that you would love to go back and remix, just for the fun of it?
None so vile. Might happen.
No, I'm down for that. We'll see how the fans feel about that.
We'll see. No, old school records that I'd love to remix? No. None.
And Justice for All with some bass?
No. A record is like a picture, and it is what it is, man. You know, there's no coming back. I know it's weird to say. You can do it. It's fun just for fun, but still, you know, like if I take, for example, all the remixes from Megadeth. I used to be a huge Megadeth fan, and I think those, you know, Rust in Peace sounded great with this like fat, weird snare tone, and now it sounds so triggered in the remix that I think it doesn't belong there.
Plus, it doesn't fit with the memory, memory of what you had of it too.
Maybe it's like it's a memory thing. I don't know if it's that, or I don't know if it's me being too, you know, not emotionally attached by the past. I don't know, but I just do believe that it's like an old picture. If you look like an old picture of your dad, you and your dad, would you even say like, "Hey, Dad, would you like to do that picture again?" I know, to take it again. It's a bit strange.
Let's get in the bath, Dad.
Let's do it. You know, you could for fun.
Let's recreate it.
You could for fun, but it's never going to be like.
It's not going to feel the same.
No, it's not going to feel the same.
The Grid primarily records metal bands, if not only. Is that something that you've chose on purpose? Is it just set of circumstance?
I tried a whole bunch of different things before. You know, I did a lot of rap, but I don't like it because first of all, I don't like their work ethic, and I don't want to generalize, but it's just like, it's, you know, they come here, they just have a beat, they don't really have lyrics, they have few flows to try to do some things, and they're not all like that, you know. But I just don't like it. I don't like the work ethic. For me, it's something has to, you know, you need to have a plan. You cannot just go there and chill and just, you know, pop things out.
Smoke blunts.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But, you know, I did some indie rock, I tried some other stuff, but every time I'm doing this, I don't receive a complaint, but people are telling me that sounds too good for the style. They don't like
it. It's too clean, maybe?
Clear. Yeah, too clean. It has to be dirtier, and I'm trying to do my best. I'm like, dude, this is the dirtiest sound I made, and they're still like, no, it's way too clean. What's going on? I don't know. So I guess like the style just like suits me, and people know is the clean type of production.
Do you feel that only sticking to metal is something that has helped you as a producer, or has hindered your growth, you know, only working with certain sounds?
No, but it's
like as a rounded producer, or
maybe I would lose big opportunities, but on the other hand, I kind of win some. So I mean, like, people that has a metal band know that if they come to me, they will have what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. If they're looking for that sound, you know, for someone that would be looking for a sound like Converge, let's say, I don't think I'd be their guy, you know.
Okay.
And I totally would be fair with them and just tell them right off the bat, man, you know, you should
just go to Kurt. Kurt will take care of you.
See Kurt. He's fucking sick at doing that thing, you know. I'm more of a Sneep Sukup type guy, you know. This is what calls me, and I would love to try, but I don't think I would be as good as someone who just perfection, the art of being dirty.
The dirty grime. Who would be like your favorite, like a dream band to produce?
That's another good question. I don't know, dude. All of them.
Who would be the one that you'd be like, I made it? You know, there's never, I feel the same way as you. I feel like I think this is how you feel. That, you know, we never feel like we make it.
Yeah.
There's always something bigger around the corner. But like, what band would be like that Slayer tour for Cryptopsy would be like a I made it moment. The Cannibal tour was like that. I
would love to produce Cannibal, actually. I would really love to produce Cannibal Corpse. The thing is, you know, like, for example, my favorite sounding album of Cannibal is the one that Mark Lewis did. I think it sounds phenomenal. It's fucking sick. But talking with Pat, you know, it was not super happy about the guitar tone, you know. So if I'd be producing these guys, I know how it would be. I'm not I'm a good producer, but I'm not going to be insistent on something. I'm probably going to listen to the band, so probably Pat would come to me and be like, "Hey Chris, we need to try those weird shitty preamps that sound like cardboard, and we need to have that on the album." I'd probably be like, okay, even though I know it's not going to be good for them. That's the thing. But I would totally that would be like one of the bands that I would love to produce.
Tome II. It's coming to a close.
Oh yeah.
Where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's almost finished.
Well,
for me, this is one of those things where you wish that you weren't involved in the production of it.
I'd be like, hey, take it.
But
that'd be sick, right?
What can the fans expect?
Gnarly, brutal, heavy. What else? Intense. Few surprises, but not really crazy. I think if Tome 1 would be None So Vile, Tome 2 would be non-supremacy kind of thing.
That's a good sum up. How did you go about, did you feel like sharing about how you came up with a lot of the riffs?
How did I write it?
Yeah.
Destroying our health, you're talking about.
If you feel like sharing that story.
Sure. I have nothing to hide, I am a grown man. Writing the riffs is to write the songs. It's easy. We normally just get hammered. Me, whoever wants to get hammered with us, in the band, you're always welcome. And I'm in the band and within the band. We just try to write whatever is going through our mind, and as much as it's possible, because sometimes you're just too hammered to play, but you still have a good idea, and the next day you have like all those great ideas that are not all great, but you can maybe just at least try to decide in a more sober way what will work or not. But you would have there's some stuff that I would have never thought of sober. That's the thing.
And the reason that you drink to write is because,
well, I think I just have less of a mental barrier. I think if I when I just drink, I just don't care. So I just do whatever I want, even if it sucks, I don't care. I'll do it anyway. And maybe if it sucks, it will still there will still be something good in that. So you have to go get everything good in all those sucky part, and some stuff that I would probably think to myself, oh no, it's not even worth trying to do something with it. And when you're really drunk, you're like, oh, what the hell? It's fine. And in the end, you can end up with some really good stuff. Or not,
Personally, I definitely really enjoy the new EP. I'm super stoked to unleash it on the world.
Yeah, it's good.
The riffs are very interesting.
It's Captain Caesar who wrote it.
Captain Caesar.
Yeah.
I know that they came here. We're at the Grid home location up here in Chris's homeland, the outside of the studio world, and I know that they recorded in here, and I can still feel in the walls the haunting of the writing session that they had.
Yeah,
up
the
here.
walls were white before we started.
How do you feel about taking over the mixing reins?
What do you mean?
After Sukov?
Oh,
is it something that intimidates you? Or you mix bands all the time?
I do. I think it's sad because I really like his work very much. The latest D-side sounds great, by the way. And knowing Flo, it's not going to be easy to mix. It's going to have been way easier to leave him mix and just to let him fight
with someone else.
Someone else, yeah.
When you say he fights, what do you mean by that?
By all those little things that he'll be demanding, and I know exactly what I'll have to do already, and it's just kind of thing that I feel like personally, the worst thing to do is just when you're involved into your own band writing and recording. I think like doing everything from the writing to the mastering, I think it's too much. In my opinion, I think it's just too involved, and it's too much. You have to leave something else because you just don't have that objective vision, first of all, and second, your bandmate, because they know you, they'll probably be less. What can I say?
restricted or restrained, holding back.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if, for example, if I would go to Sukov or Sneap, and if it sent me something, I would tell him what I think. But at some point, I'll think to myself, man, that guy like mixed like hundreds of records that have sold like over 50,000, so he knows what he's doing, but when they're bandmates, it's not the same thing. They know you, so they kind of have
they feel that they don't have to put up a filter
exactly
and actually tell you what they feel,
kind of, and so it can get into frictions at some point, or
do you feel that there's less respect, or is it just
no, it's not less respect, it's just that there's some stuff that I think it's okay that maybe in the end, like someone wants to have this for his own ego or whatever it is, and it doesn't belong there. I think there should be a rule in the mixing world, and someone told me that recently, and I thought it was smart. I can't remember who told me that. I think it was Vicky from the Agonist. Yeah. Everyone, when you have a mixer vision to do, everyone should be able to tell what they think except their own instrument. That could probably
make life a little bit easier.
Way easier. And because I think there's a lot of people that don't listen with their ears, they listen with their ego. What's the funny thing? Even though on the latest Cryptopsy Tome I, I'll have to, this is something that I believe, and I believe that the guitars are way too quiet, but I don't care,
For the good of the mix.
The good of the mix. Jason knows what he's doing, and I don't want to get into any argument whatsoever. They're still there. I can still hear them, but I would have pushed them a bit more, But it doesn't matter. In the end, it's all good. It's perfect. But that these kind of things that sometimes it's okay just to let it go.
Mm-hmm. That's my. You know how I am. I show up. I track my things, and I let you finish it because I trust you.
Yeah, well, this is what I think, and sometimes it's good that people give me their opinion because I'm not like God, there might be some stuff that I don't hear that are there,
Okay, one last question. What would be your standout track on the new Cryptopsy EP?
A standout track, yeah. They're all good for different reasons. I don't even know what that song title is.
Will you say it and then I'll...
Number 2.
Sire of Sin.
You see, so that's the video. I really like that song. I think it's a great song overall. A really, really good song. But I like number 1 too because it has some very interesting riffs in it.
Yeah, as we're a band and we're still in the writing stage, we still call the songs
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yes. So the song number 2 is Sire of Sin. It's going to be the video, which is coming out shortly, if it's not already out. And number 1 is The Wretched Living.
Oh, I see. I like that. Yeah.
Which was almost. It was almost the video, but we switched right at the last minute. Yeah. Classic Cryptopsy style.
I don't know. Like a little bird told me that number 2 would be better.
Well, so thank you for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you for coming.
Vox and Hop. We had some good beers, and I hope that we can do this again one day.
Sure. It was fun having you. Take care, dude.
All the best, Chris. Thanks. Hey, thanks everyone for listening to the second episode of Vox and Hops. I had a blast sitting down with Chris. We drank some good beers. It was a real pleasure. If ever you have any comments, suggestions, people that you would like to see me interview, beers that you would like me to try and share with everyone, please send your comments and suggestions to matt@voxandhops.com. On my next episode, I sit down with Patrick Martin, who owns Le Fermenteur, which is a brew pub in L'Assomption, Quebec. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. Talk about the challenges of opening a brew pub, the sacrifices you have to make in your own personal life, and a whole bunch of stuff about awesome metal music and a whole bunch of funny anecdotes. He's a great guy. So you check it out. Patrick Martin on the next episodes of Vox and Hops.